Good morning. Okay. Good morning.
Hello, Michael, I'm the head teacher. Hello, Michael's the head teacher.
The representative of Portuguese speaking in the UK, and we are lucky enough to be one of the
com a minha presença, encorajando a escola a continuar o exercício que tem feito.
E aqui é uma carta que eu fiz especialmente para a senhora.
Você é brasileiro?
I will start, this is not just a ceremony, it really is a gathering to symbolize a gathering together, a region of interests and common ambitions for all of us, and what I want together from now on is to achieve something not only for Portuguese as a nation and Portuguese as a community, but also for the UK, for the British, and East Asia, particularly where we are facing the event with our clients, which I'll describe a bit further more. First of all, thank you very much. I want to welcome our Portuguese ambassador to UK, Mr. Rico, our Consul General, Mr. De Silva, our attaché, our Ambassador Lorena, many of you, which I hope you do join, because there's quite a, not a small group, but we are quite a manageable group, let's put it that way. You can then easily identify people and interact with each other. There are some things in the text, it helps if you have make shadows, developing some capacity. So apart from that, I'm sure you will figure out, introduce yourselves. The best way to establish a relationship is come say hi and go from there. So this should be a good, I've said day, it's going to be after day, not a full day. So the main purpose of today, it is really bringing together. We came up with this idea. First of all, I want to thank the members of our CIC. Let's just start to say that us, as a group, they brought everybody here together today. We came together as a CIC, following up on a project that has been started by Mr. Rivera and Mr. Noronha, two of my colleagues and partners. We registered now as a CIC since my husband, which is steering the project, Joe, and myself integrated the group. And we started a project to develop on a previous trade show. It was an exchange, and it was a sort of a trade fair. It was a project that brought Portuguese businesses together with UK business, and the trade fair took place in London priorly a few years ago. When we were approached to join the project, we said, okay, well, it wasn't quite my area, but it's okay, because I wanted to do, as a local district councillor and as a Portuguese, I wanted to promote all kinds of things that bring people together, to make business, to exchange culture, academia. So I think by working together, we are much stronger, and that was the whole principle. And so we joined up and we said, okay, how are we going to go here forward? What's the plan going to look like? So we picked the great concept that they had already established. We said, well, we're going to shape it, make it a bit more broad. And me, said, we're going to bring it, we stay there, of course. We'll start here. Doesn't mean we're not going further afield down the line, but this is where we start, and we want to make the most for this region as very representatives of the various institutions and chambers of commerce across the East African region today. So, the project, it will will go forward, but will culminate in spring 26. The concept was to still put on that trade fair, to put on that, that exhibit of businesses coming together under one roof. So, half from the Portuguese side and half from the English, but this time we're going to make it much more animalistic. So we will include other groups, include the cultural element as well as the academia. I think they're all interlinked. We need the cultural element, people feel closer together if they have an established relationship. The academic research, because we need qualified people to work eventually in those businesses that we're going to develop. So it's all interlinked, and we want an holistic approach. And I think by working in different sectors, across different partnerships, in conjunction is the best way to do things and do things to move forward, to be able to reach those connections. Now, I have a little bit here about our oldest, our old alliance, which is not news for many of us. We had an established alliance as the Portuguese and the British for many years, through the Treaty of Windsor, 650 years plus. So the friendship from between both cultures and both countries has been there all along. I think there's been, we've been sort of hit with a lot of things. There's been COVID and there's been Brexit, and things do change. But that doesn't mean that those friendships or those relationships can't be pushed forward. Sometimes they have to be tweaked to adjust to new times and new progress and be up with the times. But the friendships and if the willingness to work together is there, then there will be a way forward. Today is not only a gathering of people coming together to make those agreements, to show their intention to work together. So basically the ways and handshake across the table and between ourselves is a show of intent of working together and the willingness to take this forward as a collective group of people that will come in as partners or collaborators or associates or sponsors, whatever capacity we may be, to be able to make it the best show and the best international exchange between Portugal and Ukraine possible for East Anglia, for the whole region, for UK and for Portugal. I think, well, we're going to open now. Let our ambassador, Mr. Rich, add a small address to the group, because it's our distinguished guest today, along with others guests around the table, but it's our special guest today, come all the way from the university to see us. I'll let him have a few words of introduction, and then perhaps we can just start with the point which is more flexible, which is our roundtable discussion, a little bit about the trend. You might have questions, you might have a comment. I know there's quite a few in the room. I'm sure we can all sort of, do it in a more informal manner. We're here for, to work in a equal capacity. And if you have any comments, questions, it'll be an open discussion for everybody, and I'll open it to the floor. Mr. Rachel, if you want to have a few words, then thank you.
I want to speak seated.
No, please come and sit. There's actually in the room, but I'm sure that'll be fine.
Well, first of all, thank you very much, Deputy Mayor. Mayor also very much for having us. To all of you for being here. I will just say a few words about the global picture in the relationship between Portugal and the United Kingdom, because I think that that's important for you to also have a perspective about how we see it. And I have to say that this is not just an historical relationship, although history is very important. As I was saying in my previous appointment at the Academy. We have just celebrated 650 years, or 638 years if you count from the Treaty of Windsor onwards, of a relationship which has been unique all along our history. And we want to keep it that way. Relationship based on trust, mutual assistance, and also, the common advantage also whenever possible. But the relationship which is very actual, because I'm not talking about the past, I'm talking about the present. I have about, Portugal has about between 420 and 450,000 citizens living in the United Kingdom. And we are very proud of the work they have been developing over the years, not only in their communities, but also to develop these ties between our two nations. But also, on the British side, there are more than 46,000 British citizens living in Portugal, and we like to have them there. So these connections, because we are talking about hundreds of people, are quite relevant to bring our countries together. In addition to that, when we see the movements of people between the two countries, we see that the United Kingdom, for instance, is the number one tourist partner of Portugal in so many ways. And that means that a lot of people travel between the two countries, a lot of people get to know each other. That's the important thing for us. Just to give you an example, only one airline, I'm not doing some publicity, although I could, because it's an airline owned by the Portuguese Republic at this point. They have 81 flights a week between London and Lisbon. And last year they carried about 3.5 million passengers. So if you add to that all the other British Airways, EasyJet, Ryanair and so on, you can see the big picture. Then, the trade relationship between the two countries has been going well. As a matter of fact, the fact that the United Kingdom left the European Union didn't have a major impact in our exports to this country. The imports from this country, for a while they went down, but I think that things are improving on both sides of the balance. And UK is usually, well, now last year it was our fifth partner from a trade point of view, but it could be the fourth, it depends on the year. Basically, it's competing with the US for the Portuguese market. And if we look at investment also, I can say that UK has been among the top investors in Portugal. Some Portuguese companies have been investing in this country as well. Even after the financial crisis in Portugal back in 2011, things moved a little bit, but there is a steady volume of investment between the two countries, and we would like to see it being kept and improved if possible. That's why it's so important that local chambers of our regional chambers of commerce, local entities, get to know each other better, because in our economic systems, the state can do a number of things, especially in legislation, incentives or disincentives, and depending. Of course, when we talk about trade, there is a bigger framework, which is the agreement that binds the United Kingdom and the European Union. That's the bigger agreement. That I have to negotiate on behalf of Portugal in my previous job in Brussels. But it's important that local companies, local entities, local local chambers of commerce, regional chambers of commerce can, like they are doing today, can also understand each other and know each other. So, all said, I mean, among the many things that we try to do, equality, of course, is important. What we have with this day is for Portugal, just speak on behalf of Portugal, quite meaningful. I can tell you also that we signed in 2022, I believe it was on June 12th, an agreement which is called the Joint Declaration. It was signed by the Portuguese Prime Minister and the British Prime Minister. And that tries to map the future, to identify areas in which we can cooperate in the future, since we are no longer in the Union. So the idea was to look into it, to see on science, education, for instance, to give you two areas, international development, cooperation, and in other areas, what can we do together? We are working, for instance, in more political areas like defense. NATO founding members, but bilaterally we have been working also internationally. We are also looking into updating the double tax, the agreement to avoid double taxation. It's something meaningful for the business people, business communities in those countries. And finally, there were some leftovers from Brexit. I mean, practical issues, and we have been working on them as well. And the last one that we signed was a deal to normalize the recognition of the driver's licenses. And that was very important because a number of people were looking for it. So that's where I am, and of course I will available to answer any questions that you might have tonight. But I just wanted to thank you again for the initiative and to tell on behalf of the Consul General, who is more closely in touch with you on a daily basis, and also the Social Affairs Attaché. Thank you very much for the time.
Very welcome, Mr. Half an hour, a little bit, for us to have any questions, any comments. I will give you a little briefing about the Portuguese offer later on, but I think I want open minds before anything else, open minds. If there's any deep comments or questions now, questions from the ambassador, the consul, any of the entities here, please go ahead. We'll have a little bit of a chat across the table, and then we will go from there, if that's okay. I'm willing to take questions, or you can just, have a comment. Yes.
Well, I would like firstly to thank the ambassador for all the work that he's been doing, and also the Consul General, who's been very, very much in touch with all the sensible issues that plague every community, and they've been on top. They've been doing an amazing job, not just doing the IDs and the passports as you would expect from them, but also to go a step further and narrowing communities by engaging with their counterparts on this side. And for that, there's not enough recognition for that, because it's a hard job. I would like to be on that side, and for that I'd like to thank you first of all. Second, I would like to thank my fellow directors who done an amazing job, research job before us, and continue to do so, and allow me to do certain things without slapping my hands. So they gave me their full trust, and I like to send a message of appreciation. Third, also the partners who are here to sign today, they shown their willingness to move forward in this relationship, because it's more than just a signature on a paper. It's a compromise to work together and to move forward, to bring mostly financial benefits to both nations, and that everyone is thankful for, because it improves jobs, it improves the economy, it helps in a number of ways. And also the ones that are not signing today, which are many, but will be our partners equally. Some of them are here, some of them could not make it today, but they are crucial for what we're trying to do, because they have the knowledge and the know-how of local communities and local businesses, and they are essential for what we're trying to do. The Portuguese offer is more than just a trade show. The trade show is just simply a big event throughout, but the actual work is before and after as well, because we're not just trying to create a trade show and then abandon the businesses. If that was the case, I would not engage in this business. What we're trying to do is a continuous support and continuous efforts to make sure that our partners have something to gain just as much as we do. So the goal, even though we have a rough date for spring of 26, that's just a celebration of what we're trying to do, and coming together as well. But more than that is a get-together of the businesses, an interaction, and that's where the business is made. However, between now and then, we will have symposiums in the diverse sectors to make sure that those businesses are on board and understand what we are offering, us together with the various institutions. After that, we'll have, and throughout this period until 26, we'll have some trade missions in both countries, and that is to make sure that actual businesses are done even before the trade show. That's very important to us, because they're really productive. Our partners on the other side, which some are here today, have a very close relationship with all the businesses that we intend to make business with, and they have a structure very well formed to support the businesses from the airport, the minute they leave the airport, until the hotel, until the restaurant, until their bedrooms, until the businesses that they're doing business with. And that is a very, very precise work that comes out at a cheaper rate than if a business went there by themselves, because they have established relationships with all of these businesses. And we intend to do the same thing here. I think it's important to work with local businesses and attract business from abroad, because it has to be a two-way system. Finally, when this is done, we'll just repeat it, because why should we have only a tiny bit of something? This is not a gourmet restaurant. It's all you can eat. So we want to make sure that we continue to do this business. This is a relationship that we intend to create in a bigger format, and go from there and expand to the rest of the country as well. But I couldn't do it without starting by my beloved East Anglia. This is where I decided to settle. This is where I have my kids. This is where I feel that it's my community, and I'm very dear to Thetford. And even though Thetford doesn't have the infrastructure to make the event here, we have so many good partners from Cambridgeshire, from Norfolk, from Suffolk, from Essex, from I think it's important that we know our neighbours. It's important that we get together. It's important that we trade ideas. The memorandum that we have today, for example, they've been exchanged several times until everybody was on board. There's not one single thing here, and they can attest for that, that was done against the will of any of the parties. And that's the only way we want to do it. Because at the end of the day, this is only a piece of paper, but it's the relationships that we're trying to establish that counts. And for that, I'd like to thank you all. And sorry for taking this bit from me. All right? Thank you.
Gentlemen, any questions, any comments so far? I'm sure there will be other questions as the conversation flows. There will be other things that come up. They always do. But are there any comments, questions, or comments thus far?
Can I just ask what is expected of Brecon Council? We do have companies, as Councillor Eagle will tell you, we produce wine, whiskey, poultry. We've got a branding company in my ward which already work with Coca-Cola and Disney World. I just wondered what you wanted our portfolio holders. Did you want us to bring the businesses together to speak, just to do the basic line up to do the trade with Portugal, or did you want us to work with you to make sure that the expertise comes to England and Portugal and they're trained and that sort of thing for certain industries to work in certain industries in North or something or
Okay. Partnerships are not there just for the paperwork. Partnerships for us, we wouldn't call it that if it wasn't a two-way system. And I'm sure that you are interested on the economic developments of the region. And how could we do that? Work in the region without speaking to our counterparts, to our representatives. There's no specific goal that we want to ask anything from you, but collaboration and sharing of knowledge and trading ideas in order to progress further and to make a better platform for the local businesses. So as Brecons, you are a district, and which happens to be the one I live in, but more than that, you are the face of many of the businesses together with the Chamber of Commerce, and it would be wrong of us not to want you on board. Things will progress as we move on, and the most important thing is that we keep that level of communication. Without the level of communication, things break down. And eventually there will be things that we can aid Brecon Council, and there will be times that Brecon Council will see the possibility of contributing in some way, helping to negotiate, representing companies, supporting the companies that we're working with, possible investment coming from abroad, where they will want to settle and have less red tape as possible, with the support of the local Chamber of Commerce. And that is what I see Brecon Council excel at. So, did that,
yeah,
thank you.
Any more questions? Don't be shy, people. This is your chance to put your word in. Questions about the project going forward, or particular questions about your roles here? Make no mistake. If you are in this room today, you are very important to us. That's what we want to make sure, and it's the message that passes on. Important to us, important to the exchange between both countries and the institutions that represent those countries, and very important to this project of, not reinventing the wheel by establishing the friendships and partnerships that are being made priority between both countries. But make sure we oil that wheel, that we reignite that flag, and we make sure we push forward and actually maximize those contacts and those exchanges between both sides. So if you are visual, you are important, you are here for a reason. By all means, I have a lot of questions. Yes?
Good morning, everybody. I'm Jack from James Commerce. I suppose my question is almost a branding one about the East Division. So in my role, I come to a lot of meetings like this where we're talking about Norfolk and to a lesser extent Suffolk and Cambridgeshire, but Norfolk as a place to do business. And sometimes the perception is that it's just agriculture. And obviously that's a hugely important sector, we can't deny that, and we should shout about that. But we also have life sciences and engineering, advanced manufacturing, offshore renewables, nuclear over in Suffolk, more life sciences in Cambridgeshire. So I suppose my question is, from the perspective of the Portuguese business community, such as you can define it as one thing, what are the opportunities for the East of England to shout more about what we have here? And equally, what are the challenges, are there problems around the perception of the East of England?
When it comes to the trade part and the international side, it's more into it. I'm more of the civic side, so the cultural side, but I'll let you carry on.
I'll start by acknowledging the other way around and get to the end to the question you asked. We look at the UK, England more specifically, as partners, long partners. Not just in security, but also economically and culturally. I mean, you guys are very well implemented in Portugal and continue to look for that. There's a few case studies that we spoke in the past where we tend to do trade missions to start those businesses already. So there is that bit of the negotiation where we want to see those businesses establishing themselves, and the way Portugal sees the UK, it sees a gateway to 56 nations as well, with the Commonwealth. Is it 56, 52? So you are the gates to a large number of countries and an even larger number of people and businesses. So, and both here, by trading here, by establishing themselves here, you actually not just helping yourself, but also helping Portuguese trade. On the other hand, we are one of the easiest countries to liaise with, and we were the first ones to extend unilateral agreements with the UK. We opened talks straight away. Mr. Ambassador here knows better than I do, but we're always had our heads open even after Brexit, because that's the relationship that we feel that we should have with you. Because of that, we embrace any business coming from the UK to Portugal, and the evidence is there. Portugal is not just the 10 million people. We also, now that the UK has left the EU, we are a gateway to 500 million people just in Europe alone. We're also 260 plus million people spread all over 5 continents, with excellent relationships. The same way as you have the Commonwealth, Portugal has their own specific relationships with those countries of Portuguese-speaking countries. So the possibilities are endless that we can explore. They haven't been explored well enough, and we want to make sure that we push the boundaries of what has been done so far, and push them so that the businesses that we will represent, with you, are well represented, and that their best interests are taken care of. So any situation, any specific situation that we may have, we'll always be sitting at the table with you and talk about how we move forward, how can we best serve those businesses, small businesses, medium businesses, and even large businesses. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm Mark Rugaya, and I run a small community interest company. It's based in Suffolk, but we work across the UK and do quite a lot of work in Deptford over the years. We know Joe and Carla really well. I just wondered, and the ambassador was talking about this amazing, very long-lasting relationship between the UK and Portugal 600 years ago. But I think, you know, is there space within all of this around people and communities? I think it would be quite interesting to explore. Here in Deptford, you've got BTO, British Trust for Ornithology. We're doing a project with them at the moment. You've obviously in Portugal got SPEA, which is the kind of equivalent of the birding organisation there. Could we develop links around that? There's also something called Rewild in Portugal, which is in the Coa Valley, which is a fantastic part of Portugal to visit for wildlife. And again, there's so much synergy, I think, for this area around the breaks, around some quite iconic wildlife that we've still got in our parts of the country, which should be celebrated. And it seems to me that there are lots of opportunities, both in tourism, both in exchanges more between communities and civil society organisations per se. Is that part of what you're looking to do through this initiative?
When we decided to revamp the Portuguese offer, I set up a number of parameters to ensure that it's not just business, because business never comes alone, never. And the culture side of it, for me, was essential. It's the lack of culture, or the lack of knowledge about the culture, that creates doubts and fears. And for me, I don't think I could do this company without including trading of cultures. That includes, it's not just the singing and the drinking, it includes everything that we want to include. The exchange, when we named the company, we didn't name it as the Portuguese Offer International Business Trade. We put it International Trade Exchange, and the trade exchange was very meaningful. It wasn't just a name. The trade exchange, it meant it wasn't just about business. It was about cultures, it was about academia, research, because both nations are very, very strong on it, and how much stronger can they be if they work together? So, in your example, I know that you're very attached to the Portuguese wildlife, and here as well. And I feel the same. I very much feel the same. And definitely we can work on something to actually promote that. Culture, like I said, it's critical when it comes to bringing business together. If we all know we're all great, we feel a whole lot more closer than just exchanging money. So,
thank you. Any more questions? Yes, Ivan Education Commerce. We're very much looking at this opportunity to trade education consortium and collaborate with our businesses and businesses from Portugal. And we all know that trade has, especially international trade, has very many aspects. It's a legal aspect, a documentation, and logistics, and many aspects. And all of these aspects eventually should work in harmony. Because if something doesn't work, any work we do, preliminary work, it just will fall through. So my question is, just in fact yesterday, I had a conversation with one of our members. He's a champion, expert champion. And he been doing business in Portugal with Portuguese companies for many years. And he's basically not just slowed it down, and he's looking somewhere else. And the reason is there are certain shortcuts and difficulties with the customs. And it's quite a shame because the company is very big, and so he's actually basically going we can't continue this way because there is no way we can speak and talk to the customs in Portugal. They're very much locked or not open-minded. So our shipments they got stuck. We can't release them, and in some instances we had to send them back. So if our purpose here to expand international business and to promote this sort of reciprocity, how would we overcome? Because, for instance, if I approach companies from Cambridge, and we sort of push them towards Portugal, and then sort of the whole work will be done, and this detail, when we start trading, they might come to me and say, look, we can't do it.
First of all, thank you for exposing that, and thank you for giving us the feedback from the company. It seems to me that I look at things not as a glass half full or half empty. I look for what it is, and what I think is missing there is very much what we potentially intend to establish with this organization. Now, we have across the table a Chamber of Commerce, very much like yourselves, that deals with 113 districts on this Chamber alone. And if that company was dealing with a chamber, very much like a company dealing with you on this side, will have the support of the chamber to overcome red tape. Over there, and that's why we have a full package to support the companies on the other side. They would not be fighting this alone. They would have the support of a large group that communicates with the government, or whatever government it is. We just changed governments now, and they're just as strong as they were before, because it's not a political view. It's a financial view, and it's a business view, and therefore they look always to support the companies, regardless of the party that is leading the country. What they're always doing is giving feedback to the country's politicians. Same way as you give feedback to your counties, to your districts, to the central government, and that creates the help of policy making that is necessary to break down those barriers. And by not just dealing with the chambers here and leave it at that, by having your counterparts very much active, and they are very well implemented on the other side, then we'll have a continuous support and ensure that the business that you spoke about doesn't feel frustrated enough to lose business. But it seems that there's opportunities more than even he felt that there were before, and that they can move on. I hope we still get to deal with them. I'm not sure which area of the country they are working in, but we will have representatives in the whole country. Therefore, anywhere in Portugal or the islands, if a business has an issue, we'll have representatives there to actually support those businesses. On the other hand, and I think that's why it's important to have our ambassador here, because he definitely speaks directly to the policy makers, and it is to give a feedback to the government to actually negotiate those things. So, would you like to
Just very briefly, thank you very much. You know, I don't comment on the specific case. I don't know the case, so I'm not really. Maybe if you are interested, you can leave your contacts and counselor, and we'll get in touch with our trade division to see what's going on. What I can tell you is something very general. I mean, in general, the issue of red tape, of course, it increased because after the withdrawal agreements, I mean, the situation is not the same. In general, I mean, this is a complex situation because one part of the United Kingdom is part of the single market, Northern Ireland, others are not, so there are layers of complexity in that. So I don't rule out the fact that you may see, not only in Portugal, but in other places, some problems that still need to be solved, I mean, to fine-tune. And there is a committee and subcommittees also working on this on a constant basis within the framework of the agreements that were signed between the UK and the European Union. Having said that, I can tell also that from the European side, we have lots of complaints of red tape in the UK. And so that leads me to conclude that we need a lot of fine-tuning on both sides in order to implement what we agree. Generally speaking, I think it works. It's been working. There is also an adjustment period. That's how we see it. Because the economic agents, they need time to adjust. If they are bigger companies, probably they have more resources and bigger ability to cope with. If they are smaller companies, probably they are feeling more difficulties. But yes, we pay attention to the cases that come to our attention to see if we can infer from them something that could be taken generally and improved. But please, maybe we can take contacts, and if you are interested in following up, we can see what's going on.
And once again, that's why we're here. It's we just experienced red tape, getting words around. So once again, that's why we're here, and it's to continue to do this on a permanent basis that we're trying to establish. So thank you for that, because if everything was easy, we wouldn't be here.
Any more questions?
Hi, I'm Stella Giles from the University of Cambridge. Forgive me if this isn't the case, I'm just wondering under the Portuguese offer, is there scope to also raise the issue of Portuguese workers working in the UK? So, at the University of Cambridge, we spent the last 4 years documenting the experiences of migrant workers who moved to the east of England, particularly Norfolk, to work in poultry factories. And the largest group that we have documented have been Portuguese workers, both Portuguese nationals and diasporic Portuguese nationals, who are experiencing kind of very poor levels of employment experiences, very poor employment experiences, and also very poor living experiences, actually. Is there scope under the Portuguese offer to feed in this kind of information and research as we're collecting it?
Completely. The same way as we get feedback from Portugal, it's important that we have feedback here. We have some of the various counties representatives here, and they are on the forefront of the vision, and they represent housing associations there, or they're head of or on constant contact with them, and that's why it's important once again to have the districts, the counties, because they are the first port of call when issues arise, and we want to support them and you and everybody that we can throughout this. Like I said, this is not just monetary trade. This is actually ideas and efforts, and we want to be able to support those people. Same way as if a person in Portugal, a British person in Portugal, has an issue. It's important that they talk to the authorities, and if they need that help, they can do it through us if necessary. So most definitely, again, we're talking about cases that really show the reason why we're doing this work. It's important that we get that feedback from you, because without that feedback, we have nothing to do, basically. So by getting those points, that allows us to deal with that. That allows Mr. Silva, the Consul General, who deals with documentation and everything. They also make a huge effort to travel the country, including efforts to actually make sure that they deal with the documentation to the Portuguese people throughout the country, facilitating instead of having to travel to London, they actually come to the people. So that for me, and that's another thing that I'm usually thankful, because I continuously say it, but it's never said enough the effort that they make. But I'm going to give a voice to him.
Yeah, just briefly on this issue of the movement of people between now the UK and Portugal. This is, of course, in a way, a new reality because of Brexit. Because before, the issue was resolved automatically. We did not need visas to work, to study, or to reside in each one of our countries. With Brexit, we've gone in a way back to the past, and now this is a new reality, which we're all adapting on both sides. So, and difficulties, of course, have arisen in Portuguese workers coming to the UK, and in a way the same, and the reverse procedure also in Portugal. So there, I think we have to get in contact with the entities that are responsible also for processing visas, which is the Home Office in the UK, and of course UK diplomatic missions, alerting them to difficulties that might be arising, and in the case, of course, of the British nationals who want to study, reside, or work in the UK, of course, then it would be either us, the consulate, or the Portuguese Ministry of Foreign Affairs. But we're interested very much in clearing up all situations that may arise, because the movement of people is, of course, a fundamental element for our relations to progress. So, but we have to use the right channels, and this happens a lot, for example, with university students. That, of course, the UK attracted an enormous amount of talent from Europe. With Brexit, this decreased naturally also because of the cost for European students coming to study in the UK is now aligned with the third countries, so it's higher. And many times for students to obtain their visas, because of bureaucratic issues, fees are being delayed, and so universities have to be pressured, and in case of workers, I mean, the companies also, they have to do their jobs also in liaison with the Home Office and with the
But I can tell you that for the past 20 years, that I've been working closely with the embassy and the consulate, and also with the secretaries of states, etc. I never saw, and I'm proud of that, I never saw once them saying, it's not my problem. They go above and beyond what is expected of them. And I'm not saying this because they're here. I say it constantly, that they do an extraordinary job under immense pressure, because each family counts, each person counts. It's not just a number, and they do take that serious. And for that reason, I think, again, it's the collaboration among institutions. Is about getting in touch, exchanging, ideas and thoughts and frustrations as well, in order to first is recognizing the problem, and then is finding a solution for it. So thank you.
And just picking up on that piece, and thank you so much for taking myself and Councillor Bright down to London, where we had the privilege of meeting both the ambassador and going to the consulate. And from those conversations, picking up on that piece around, the resident, the citizen, we've been able to do some links in terms of digital inclusion and supporting that work, because as you rightly say, so much of that is now going online, and we need to enable people to access those services. And I know certainly within the district councils, that's a key element as well, of the interface with the challenges, whether it be housing, whether it be blue badge applications, as two very separate things. But those things that impact everyday life of our residents of Norfolk, regardless whether they're in the Portuguese community, in the Polish community, or in the native community of Britain. And I think that builds further on the work that we've seen at the Thetford Academy, that inclusion and culture sharing. It's just being mindful that sometimes we need to adapt our messaging, or just be aware that there is a slightly different need. So I'm really pleased that we're working together on that already.
Thank you very much. Anybody else? No? Time for one more question from the floor? Well, in that case, we'll move on to the next stage of our small gathering, not so small, small but mighty, which is the signing of memorandum of understanding with the entities that were able to do here today with us. So it's Câmara das Feiras, so it's the Chamber of Commerce for Portugal, Centre Portugal, Norfolk Chambers of Commerce, Cambridge Chambers of Commerce, Norfolk County Council at present. Then there are a few others which we will, let everybody know in subsequent emails and communications. We're going to have following this meeting for sure. They will also be signing with us at different dates, because logistics just didn't allow them to be here today. So we'll proceed to signing those officialized memorandums, which is just a treaty of friendship between parties, and hopefully they'll be productive for both sides. There will be some advantages, some successful outcomes by having an understanding and by having a flow of communication, which is really well reinforced by Mr. Ambassador, by our CEO, and some of you. If we can talk directly to each other, then red paper just sort of dissolves itself. Sometimes it's about, navigating the waters. There will always be some level of bureaucracy in every side, every nation, every institution. If we collaborate together, then red tape will dissolve and things will flow better. And that is for the betterment of the businesses and the membership and the communities that we serve, basically. So if we proceed to sign, we will start with our ambassador will not be signing. I did everyone with them will not be signing because he's a witness in person. Today, just to observe and as a guest, but we will be signing, the chambers of entities will be signing with us as part of our collaboration together, and we'll be some center point between aggregating all the different partners we come from. So we'll start with that part. Start with our guests. They come all the way from Portugal for this event today. So we'll start with Câmara das Feiras, Mrs. Ana Correia, Mrs. João Morgado. If we sign the memorandum between ourselves, I'll let my CEO sign for the Portuguese offer. We can do that. I think there's a file on the table for the people that signed it today. There is a file there with a copy to be signed. And we can have a picture, and we can share that with our respective members and get it out when we go back after this session, of course. Should we? Sign the copies, so we exchange copies. Is that all right? Yeah? No, I don't think sorry. Well, it's a bit, there's copies there for both sides, and if you all sign one, we exchange it. And at the end, we can do a collective picture of everybody with their memorandums. And we'll do a picture at the end to share it. So we can do that. I think, in the sake of time, so I'm sure everybody. time for lunch now. If we do that, we'll have to put it in for that time as well. We'll just exchange and take a collective pictures here and we pass the circumstances. Thank you very much. So, one here. There will be one there. Oh, Jake is all the way at the end. Jake, hello. You're all right. I think there's a folder. I believe you have a folder here somewhere as well, don't you? Yeah, it's here somewhere, I'm sure. Yeah. Small amendments afterwards to symbolize the date and afterwards, but they're going back, so I will save ourselves.
It's Ronaldo.
of the end, just so we don't have to get out and sit back again, it's just really easy if you're comfortable, and then we can test towards the end, we can all take a picture in groups, or even a group picture all together, if that's the case. I'm just going to pass on the word to one of our guests, who is Pedro Alexandre, who comes from Portugal. He just so happens to be also an author, and a published author, that writes in Portuguese and English. And we promised that we would give him a little bit of time to explain what his book is all about, to make a small presentation about his so it's a word, basically, his book. Mr. Morgana, please.
Well, I can speak Portuguese, and I ask you for
Okay, I can summarize. You speak in Portuguese and I can summarize in English. No worries.
Well, tenho só um livro traduzido aqui para a Inglaterra, que é o Céu do Mar, que se pode comprar na Amazon, e é um livro que fala de cultura portuguesa ligada ao mar, fala de uma história de pescadores e de uma grande tempestade no final do século XIX.
So, his book, and he has one translated in English. Which mostly writes in Portuguese, one translated in English, is Céu do Mar, and it's It's called Santo Mar. The story is about a group of fishermen following a massive storm. Towards the end of the 19th century.
E é uma história muito emotiva, que fala da nossa tradição ligada ao mar, não só na expansão marítima, nas grandes descobertas, mas muitas vezes os heróis do mar são os simples pescadores.
So it doesn't speak only about the great discoveries and the people of the sea. There's an attachment to the Portuguese have to the sea, but quite often the big heroes of the story tend to be the fishermen and the people that go out, in great waters, great storms, to get by, to make a living.
Mas tem também 3 livros que falam dos grandes navegadores portugueses, Vasco da Gama, Cabral e Magalhães. O Vasco da Gama está agora a ser traduzido em inglês, será apresentado aqui na Inglaterra no próximo ano.
So he has 3 articles about Vasco da Gama, Cabral and Magalhães, as usually you get known by, all great seafaring Portuguese discoverers that break the wall and found new places and new locations. One of them will be published next year.
Next year. Gama, Indias.
So one about the finding of Indias, and it's the one for Vasco da Gama.
Será publicado na América, aqui na Inglaterra e na Índia.
Which will be published in America, in England, and in India as well, and simultaneously.
E espero voltar cá para falar desses livros em inglês e em português.
He hopes to return further down the line to speak about those books in both Portuguese and English with all of you. So the book today is Céu do Mar, and it's translated in English, we should take it.
Vou oferecer a toda a gente, mas em português. Depois compro na Amazon em inglês.
You can offer a book, but it's in Portuguese. The English version is online on Amazon. So if you want the English version, you can get it, but not today.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. I think we proceed to take some pictures. Unless there's questions, I'm not going to bore you all. I think we're all looking for lunch, which is the highlight of the day for most of us. But unless there's any comments or questions that we can take on now, just before we close, to take a few pictures, and then the new that are staying for lunch, just going to follow us. We'll move along to the restaurant, which is close by. The restaurant, this is but the ones that are staying for lunch. This is a new place, so bear with us. It's a Portuguese themed restaurant. It's not even open yet. It's open towards the end of the week. This was a one-off that we arranged as almost like a inauguration, almost a launching of their own business as well, the space and the cuisine to the locals. And we thought, well, the UK Portugal flag, we try to fit this in with the new restaurant with something a bit more themed and get people to know the place. So hopefully they will do well. We're rooting for them. But I can't attest to the cuisine because there's just nothing for us today. So all news.
The name of the restaurant,
yes,
funny enough, is called 7 Rural Sins.
It is written in Portuguese, but it means several rural sins. Now, I think the owner inspired himself in one of the old Portuguese movies or down. Yes, it's still on movies. So don't ask me many details because I wouldn't know. But hopefully we'll be good. If you can...
Also, for those who are not from here, the pictures that you see around the room, and this is the bit that I'm passionate about, it shows how much history does this town have. And not only is the place that I live, but also a place with massive history, from being the place where the Vikings, when they visited England, spent the first winter here. They also burned the village to warm themselves up, or being mean. We've got John the Gaunt there getting married. Henry the Eighth's son is buried not very far from here. And King Edmund's, which was the patron saint of England until St. George came along from Turkey. And he was just from the village next door, but he died nearby Thetford by the hands of the Vikings for not accepting their religion and not giving up his own beliefs. So I think that's quite a strong one for me. Personal belief for that. And finally,
for the ladies on the table, we have to get in this and she set the standard for us to follow. God admire, and that is a movie now, really about it.
There's a mount in town that was a fortification for the Vikings, but they actually weren't that city because they used Boudica's old mounds to use as a fortification. So Boudica has a very strong settlement here, even because we have two rivers that meet in one right in the centre of town, which is beautiful if you have the chance to take a look at it.
Just walk around and have seen Thetford yet. I fully recommend it. Just don't get to the riverside. It is beautiful.
Here to the side we also have
natural beauty around here.
Here to the side behind we've got the chairman of the Dad's Army Museum. For those who know Dad's Army,
the series is hilarious.
It is, but I'm proud to know that Dad's Army was filmed mainly in Thetford, and that the museum is attached to this building as well. So do feel free to roam around. There's beautiful sights.
Enjoy it. It's
lakes,
still
rivers.
dry outside, so if you do have time after lunch, by all means, have a walk around and have a look around. And a little bit of a hint. If anybody wants to know anything about history, local, Dad's Army, or anything related, Thomas Paine, great man in history, which is all local. Sorry to put you on the spot, Stuart. Council Stuart's right, a full of knowledge of local history. Ask the man, if he doesn't have an answer, I don't think any of us.
Thomas Paine was not just a statue that we see further on. He was fundamental. He was one of the forefathers of the American Revolution. He was also very influential into the French Revolution, and he was also a corset maker, which is amazing.
We're lucky that Thetford might not be one of the largest, so it's further larger than considering we're a unique town, we're a town of firsts. And if anything else, people also realize that myself, including being one of the first, particularly being of Portuguese nationality, and giving a representation to our communities. But we had the first black mayor back in the days, and there has been other instances throughout the times where Thetford's been the first of anything. So we like to think that we can start great things here and then just spread, see them and let them grow. So, ladies and gentlemen, if there's no more questions, we'll close. We will take the official pictures of remembrance, hopefully full picture. No, there was a lady from the center that did say she was going to come and take it. I'm not sure she went down, but we can take a picture. Hopefully fit everybody in as best as possible, and also the partnership with whoever signed in today. And then we will wrap it up here, and we'll go to the restroom. If you follow me, you'll be able to find the list. So I'll let you